afternoon. My name is Allisha Johnson, and I am the Personal Effectiveness Skills Coordinator here at Madisonville Community College. Welcome to your first day of classes for fall 2019. This is actually my 32nd year of first day of classes, so I've been here a really long time. It's good to see all of you here, and I want to thank you up front for your attendance and also for your attention to the speakers that we're going to be listening to. The speakers that we have been invited to share with you some advice that they have found and proved to be useful as they begin their professional careers. One is how to get a job, 2 is how to keep a job, and 3 is how to excel at a job. And I believe what you'll find is that the things that they are telling you are interlaced with our personal effectiveness skills student guidelines for success. So please give them your attention. You have notes, a notes page. If you want to take some notes, that would be great. And we will just go ahead and get started. I'll introduce all 3 of them first, and then we'll go from there. How to get the job is Molly Deahl, and she is the business liaison for the West Kentucky Workforce Board. How to keep the job is Allisha Perry. She's our human resources manager here at Berry Global in Madisonville. And how to excel at the job, Amanda Davenport, who drove in from Princeton, and she is the executive director of the Lake Barkley Partnership. We'll go ahead and get started with Molly Deahl.
Hey guys, thank you for having me today. Can you hear me okay? Okay. So as Ms. Felicia said, I'm Molly Deahl. My office is here in the Career Center in town. And I wish there was a secret formula where if you do A, B, and C, you will automatically get a job. Unfortunately, there is no secret formula, but I do have some tips and tricks that I've learned in my career in workforce. So this might set you apart from other applicants and land you that job. So let's get into it. First of all, don't be afraid to network and use your local contacts. So one of the pros to living in a small town is the networking capability when it comes to job search. When you're ready to look for a job, pester your family, your friends, folks at your church to see if they have a contact with the company who's hiring. There's also some really good networking groups at our chamber here at MCC that you can take advantage of where you can meet new people. So take advantage of those local resources. Chances are that if you're referred from a person who knows you to a local employer, you're going to be more likely to land an interview and get your foot in the door that way. Next, do your research on the company that you're applying to. You can almost think of it like going on a first date. We've all been there, right? So before you go on a date with someone, chances are you're going to shamelessly stalk them on Facebook or Instagram. You're going to have your friends grill them to make sure they're not a serial killer. So it's the same idea here. You're going to Google the company and make sure that your resume and that your cover letter are tailored to the position that you're applying for within the company. And it also doesn't hurt to mention some facts that you've learned during your research, during the interview. That's going to show the interviewer that you've done your research and you're actually serious about working there. Next, clean up your social media. So while you're checking out the company, remember that the company is actually checking you out as well. I've had employers tell me that they've gone through 3 years back on Facebook posts before they decide to interview someone. So they're checking to make sure there's nothing racially insensitive, anything that's politically charged, any disparaging comments about a former employer or coworker. So make it a practice to think about that before you post anything on your social media accounts. Next, present yourself professionally during the interview. This encompasses a broad spectrum of things, so I'm going to go through each one of these because these are very, very important. First, for the love of Pete, please do not roll into an interview wearing pajama pants, a baseball cap, or with your cheekbones crazy highlighted and contoured like Kim Kardashian, okay? That is not necessary. You've heard the saying, don't judge a book by its cover. The reverse is actually true for interviews. Like it or not, interviewers are going to judge you by how you present yourself at that first meeting. If they don't like the cover, chances are they're not going to read the full book. So do research on the company, and part of that is actually gaining an understanding about the culture of the company itself, of the people they work there, and how they dress during the day. So try to mimic that for the interview, which will show the interviewer how you will fit seamlessly into their work environment and culture. I would suggest that you arrive a few minutes early to the interview. Make sure that you know the location for the interview, and maybe you do a test drive before that so you know exactly where you're going and how long it takes to get there. If for some reason an emergency pops up, life happens, sometimes that does happen, make sure you call the interviewer and let them know what's going on and ask them to reschedule for another time that works best for them. A good handshake at the onset and conclusion of the interview is crucial, along with maintaining good eye contact with the interviewer during the entirety of the interview. I know you all practice and get graded on those skills here at MCC, which is fantastic. Engagement with the interviewer is critical. So watch your body language, that's a big one. For example, I've noticed that when I'm at my desk at work, I slouch. I tend to have really poor posture. So when I'm in an interview or I'm trying to make a good impression, I try to make sure that my shoulders are back and that I don't cross my arms in front of my chest. You want to appear open during the interview, and I understand the interviews are really nerve-wracking, but even if you're not feeling confident and you're inwardly freaking out, fake it with a smile. Studies show that smiling actually raises your confidence level, and that will actually make you appear more approachable, so the interviewer is more likely to have a favorable impression of you during the interview. Don't be afraid to sell yourself. The company is looking for what you can offer them that other applicants can't, and what you can contribute to the company itself. And then finally, I always think it's a really important step to get the name of your interviewer and their contact information so you can send them a thank you note after the interview is over. Not only is it a polite thing to do, but it also gives you another opportunity to get your name in front of the interviewer again, and hopefully you provided them a great first impression and they'll be inclined to present you with a job offer. Those are my tips. Thank you.
Good afternoon. So I'm going to talk to you today about keeping that job once you've got it. So in my line of work, it's common for HR professionals to hire dozens of workers in a short time span. So what was the first thing that I would suggest to you? Well, you need to show up on the job on time. So it may sound silly, but the majority of terminations at my facility are due to violations of our attendance policy. And once you've reached the point where you are in jeopardy of losing your job, there's little, if anything, that the company can and will do to keep you. So I would make sure that the bottom line is just to make sure that you have done the job and showed up on time so that you can get that. My next tip would be to dress appropriately. You don't have to show up each day in a suit or something that you're not comfortable in. You should definitely tailor what you have to wear to the business needs. So whether it's a construction site or you're sitting at an office, make sure that you're clean, neat, appropriate, and well dressed for the role. I would suggest too to be a team player, be flexible, keep your complaints to yourself. Show the company that you want to be part of their mission and that you're excited for the new opportunity. So negativity spreads like wildfire, and in a lot of factories, I know I've had a lot of experience that can go very fast in a break room area. So you want to embrace positive, like-minded people, especially when you're in the workplace because you spend so much time there, oftentimes more than you do with your family. Policies can change. We all know that we agree and sometimes we don't agree with those, but you shouldn't voice your opinion to just anyone. You should do that in an appropriate manner as well if you feel that you need to do that. Know your company's rules. What are the policies? I know we've all spent our whole life trying to get away from rules and not have so many, but unfortunately that's the facts of life. So just know your policies. What's the policy on overtime? What's the policy on cell phone and computer use? And better yet, what's the company's policy on social media? A lot of companies can and will tell you what you can and can't post about the company on social media. There's a lot of different things that companies do that can be trade secrets. And if you were to post something like that, you would be in immediate jeopardy of termination. So I'd be very familiar with that policy. And then the last bit of information that I would give you is to never stop learning. So once you get the job and you feel like, oh, I got it, now I don't have to know anymore. It's completely the opposite. If there's cross-training opportunities or there's opportunities to excel in your career there, you should always try to do that. Follow people around, ask people questions. If you don't know, ask. That's definitely the number one thing. Read your employee handbook, know it front to back. always lean on your HR department because they're not there just to hand out discipline. They're also there to help you with these things too. So if you do all of this, I would say you would be pretty well suited for keeping your position.
Good afternoon. I'm Amanda Davenport with the Lake Barkley Partnership, and our organization helps employers create new jobs and fill existing jobs. So knowing how to excel at your job is something that's really important to my organization, our industries, and our community. And these are going to follow a lot of the same trends of how to get a job. You can excel and keep it, or I'm sorry, how to keep your job, but you can excel and kind of keep your job just by doing a couple of these simple things. So I've got 6 quick tips for how to excel in your job. Always keep learning. If you want to keep learning about your job, you should take courses through your employer or through your workforce locally. Also, just kind of keep an open mind, keep reading, keep listening to audiobooks, keep listening to podcasts. There's always an opportunity to learn something new. 2 is just do the work. Show up to your job, do the tasks that are asked of you. If you see one of your coworkers need help or something needs to get done, jump in there and make sure the work gets done. That will really set you apart if you are doing what you're asked and kind of taking the next step and going the extra mile. 3 is problem solve. If you see a problem that continues to happen every day and you guys are doing the same thing to try and change it, stop and think of a way to kind of do something new or do something different and try and solve that problem and try and solve it yourself if you can before going to someone else or just complaining and saying, we just can't do this, it's not working. Just stop and think if there's another way that you can do this and kind of solve the problem and find a solution yourself. 4 is stay positive. Having a positive outlook and just kind of showing up to work and not hating your job. You don't always have to have a fake smile or pretend like it's the best job in the world, because sometimes you'll have jobs that aren't so great and aren't the right fit. But if you can come to work every day and try and stay positive and have a better outlook and just think of the things that you can appreciate about your job, then that will, kind of change the tone of your workforce, and it can rub off on your other employees, and everyone can just have a little bit of a better day than if you're focusing on the negative things all the time. 5 is ask for help. If you don't really know what's going on or how to do something, don't be afraid to ask for help and to talk to your coworkers or to talk to your supervisor and just say, hey, I need some help with this, I don't quite understand. And then finally is just be yourself. There is something about you that got you the job in the first place. And you should really let your personality kind of shine through and show off some things that are your strengths. You can't always come to work with, crazy colored hair or tattoos on your face or things like that, but you can let your personality really shine through, and some of the strengths that you have, you should let that kind of just show, and your employer will take notice. So those are just some quick tips for how to excel at your job.
Well, I want to thank these ladies again for your professional comments. That was some great advice, and I thank all of you all for being here. Before you leave, please turn over on the back of this sheet that you were given. I wanted you all to see some opportunities that go beyond what we're doing today as far as developing yourself through personal effectiveness skills. The first thing up at the top is a Leader of Professional Excellence designation that requires a portfolio and networking and employment documents, and we'd love to have you come and find out about that on Monday, September 23rd or Tuesday, September 24th. The other thing at the bottom are fall PES PD opportunities here on this campus. And actually beyond the fall. I just put fall, but it's actually beyond too. But those are going to be in our Business Synergy Lab, and we would love to have you attend and find out more and just hone those personal effectiveness skills just a little bit better, some of those things that would set you apart from the competition. All right? Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful rest of the semester and day.